is Terry Pawlowski, and I'm with Tucson Climate Action Network. It's a group combining a bunch of different groups in Tucson: Sierra Club, 350.org, Organizing for America. Oh, I think there are 6 more, I can't remember. I think what really breaks my heart is how the very, 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 very wealthy people of power have been able to take every last drop of oil, every last drop of water, every piece of uranium, and they've just been able to take it all out of the ground and then sell it back to us. And that a lot of this land was our land. And now with the XL pipeline, Canada has taken a whole hunk of Canada and destroyed it to go down into sand to not really get oil. It's kind of, it's baby oil. It's dinosaurs that need a couple more million years before they'll become oil. It's a kind of a goop. And they pump down a lot of nasty chemicals and then suck it up. And what they're really putting in the Keystone XL pipeline is bitumen, which is a nasty chemical that if you can refine it, you can turn it into something that can be burned. So now this pipeline they want to build all the way across the United States, across one of our largest aquifers, where it will leak and leak down into our groundwater. And they want to take all that bitumen down to Houston and process it and export it. It's not even for us, because the stuff is so dirty that we can't burn it in this country. So they're going to sell it to a country whose environmental laws aren't as strict as ours, and then they'll burn it. But it's all the same planet. It's all our air. So the XL pipeline is something that is taking the last little bit of crud and sending it up into the atmosphere. And that really breaks my heart. And I'm with a man by the name of Bill McKibben, who's been talking about it, and I support the 350.org and their work in trying to get the Keystone XL pipeline to not go through, and I pray very much that Obama will go against it. And I have no idea what's going to happen. So like all of us, I'm very afraid for this country, for the wealth at the top and the poverty down here where I am. But I haven't given up hope, because I think the main thing is, for anybody who's really hopeless about this whole situation, no matter what you see, whether it's poverty or climate or the air or the water or whatever, or kids or education, we can change this. We can change this, and that's what I'm trying to do. I go to a meeting, I go and do things when people ask me to do it. So if anybody's listening that is really, really discouraged, do something. I don't care what. Go to church and join a group. And if you don't believe in God, go to church anyway, because there might be some group that does something that's really useful. You know, connect with people and try to make a difference.
Hello, my name is Susan Willis, and I'm interested in climate issues. I'm concerned about the climate change, the things that we're doing to the earth, and I'm opposed to the XL pipeline on more than one count. I do believe that it will be very harmful in terms of the possibility, the potential for breakage, leakage of the pipeline, and the tar sands, from what I understand, are extremely dangerous with the chemicals that are contained in there to make it fluid, you know, to force it to be able to flow. They have to add chemicals that are very harmful. These chemicals can then pollute the water, the land, and the pipeline is designed to go through, or the route of it is right through the heartland of this country, which is farming land, which grows our food and so on, and the farms depend upon the water to irrigate and grow the food. So it's very dangerous on those counts. And then another issue that concerns me about the pipeline is the fact that it's being built by a foreign company, a foreign corporation in Canada, going through our land, and they're using, or they're attempting to use the eminent domain power to condemn lands in the pathway of resistant landowners to get their way. And my understanding of eminent domain is that the purpose of the eminent domain is to be able to access land that has a public benefit, not land that is for private profit, for corporations, for business purposes, but rather something that would be in the overriding public interest. This is a corruption of that concept, in my belief. So that's another issue. That's more of what I consider a democracy type issue. And then another issue that is concern is that even though they're going across our country with this shale oil, it's really not destined for use by this country. It will be sent down to Texas, refined there, and then go on the open market, most likely to China. So they're using our land to build this pipeline with all of its potential harms, and there will be no benefit to this country, to our populace, and potential great harms. So I believe it's a very damaging, terrible project that we need to oppose, and we need to end it and stop it before it's done. The thing that concerns me about it's emblematic of what's happening in this country is the accelerated rate of what I call raping and pillaging the earth to extract as much of the remaining resources as possible. It's almost as if it's a frenzy, a feeding frenzy, like the sharks attacking, even if we really felt we needed all that, why is this current generation the ones that should extract every last drop and every last crumb of everything from the earth? Why would we not want to leave a little bit behind for future generations that might need some of these resources? What makes us, this current generation of people, so special that we must extract every last resource from the earth and leave nothing for the future? So it's just deeply troubling to me on so many levels. And so that's pretty much why I am opposed to this pipeline. And it's not alone. There are many other projects of a similar nature that I'm opposed to. And whether they occur in this country or somewhere else, I think that they're bad in general. The things that are happening in other countries, the fact that in Ecuador, Korea has felt that he's unable to preserve their that huge park preserve, which I've forgotten the name of, because the world community could not help support the preservation of that against oil interests. And so that will be endangered. It's the largest repository of diversity on the planet, and it's also the home of the last primitive tribes of people left on the earth, and it will probably fall to oil drilling. So all of these types of issues are all related, and they're very damaging and destructive. And so that's where I stand.
Hi, my name's Vincent Pawlowski. I've been working on climate change related issues for about 15 years now, seriously. And my history goes back a lot longer. I wanted to be a solar power engineer when Jimmy Carter was in office, and he first mentioned to me the greenhouse effect. So it's not a new issue for me. It's not something that's all of a sudden become a crisis. It's something that's been in the background, but of growing importance every day of my life, my adult life. And as a result of that, I've become quite aware of the issues. I can remember the times I've heard about various what I call extreme extraction techniques, like mountaintop removal, or Arctic drilling, or deep sea drilling, or tar sands, Or let's see, how about fracking, hydrofracking for both oil and gas? And I've come to the conclusion that all of these techniques are just like an addict who's trying to find substitutes. You know, a heroin addict who goes to methadone, an alcoholic who switches from hard drinks to beer or wine. And they're just not going to get us where we need to be with regard to our carbon emissions. So for me, the solution has to be a full throttle effort, an Apollo mission-like effort to put in renewable energy across the world, not just in this country, not just in the developed world, but to show and to provide ways for the developing world to do the same thing. And for me to see the Keystone XL pipeline being promoted as a solution for energy independence for this country is the same kind of a problem that we've been facing since the 1973 oil crisis. And we've faced it over and over again when the pushers of this dangerous, toxic stuff keep telling us that it's good for us, that just a little bit more will be okay for us. And it's killing us. It is literally killing us. It's killing us a lot of us slowly and some of us more quickly. It's especially dangerous and toxic and hazardous for all of the Native American tribes around the Athabasca River, where they've turned the river into a giant toxic waste dump. And if they're allowed to continue to exploit the tar sands, an area the size of Florida will be dug up and turned into a giant toxic waste pit. We don't need that. Those are the classical pollutants that can certainly cause huge environmental damage, and we don't need the CO2 emissions, as James Hansen's made clear in his scientific studies that have been verified by other scientists. If we consume all of what's in the Athabasca tar sands, we risk providing more than 4 or 5 times the amount of greenhouse gases that we can possibly absorb and still remain under a 2 C limit, which most scientists consider to be the safe limit for carbon emissions to keep us from having runaway greenhouse effects, which I understand very well. And I'm not terribly concerned about those because I think we will do the right thing. I think we will come to our senses and take action on this. So this afternoon, for maybe the 3rd time, I'm going to be protesting pretty strongly against this, as Dr. Hansen calls it, the fuse to the biggest carbon bomb on the planet. And I hope that more people will join us, because right now I know that the president's delayed his decision until possibly as late as early next year. But we still have time now to take action. So we petition, we protest, we write letters to the editor, we talk to our congresspeople, we do everything we can because we are the voice of the people. We're the ones who really are deciding whether we want to take this stuff or not. And I'm not going to take it anymore. Thank you.